Invading the internet, covering Web 2.0, coast to coast, worldwide, and everywhere in between. This is where you put the social in social media. We are Social Blade.
And hello and welcome to the Social Blade Show.
This is the Social Blade Show. It's April 1st, and I'm telling you something, this is no joke. We're here for social media, live, bringing it to you every Thursday today here at Social Blade Show. I am J.D. Rucker, one of the co-hosts, as well as a producer, just not producing very well today.
I am Erin Ryan. I am the director and your co-host.
I am Jason Urgo, yet another co-host, and I think my title is like chief engineer or something like that. Yeah, how's it going?
Get us out here, Urgo.
And my name is Victor Barrera, and I'm also a co-host, and I'm the resident threadless T-shirt wearer.
Oh, come on. Social Blade T-shirt wearer. Wear the right shirt.
I know, which I still haven't gotten a Social Blade T-shirt. I'm very disappointed by that.
Yeah, I still haven't got one.
It is the first day of the second quarter of the year, which is, that's for business people. I guess that's really important. For us, however, we are just here having fun. We are joined by a very special guest tonight. We have Christina Kingston from ctkingston.com. Christina, how you doing?
I'm good. Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
We see that we have you on video. She is just to my right corner. Well, I guess it's left if you're facing the camera from where you are in the camera position. Next to Victor.
I'm the token ethnic person. You can find me. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, I'm ethnic. Victor's ethnic. Actually,
we all are.
The ethnicity of this show totally supersedes Urgo. I am half Filipino. Victor is Hispanic, and Aaron is Canadian. So Urgo is the only one who has no ethnicity whatsoever. So, and then if you look right below,
appreciate it.
No problem. If you look right below me, you'll see a spot there that's open. We're going to have Kevin Rose come on the show at some point. That's what he said. We don't know if he was kidding or not, but we're leaving a spot open for him. So, Kevin, if you can hear us, the spot right below me is for you. So, Kevin, anytime you want to get down to that spot right there next to Christina, it is yours. We're waiting for you. Just call Urgo. You got a cell phone number, and we'll be ready to go. Yeah, exactly. Come on, Kevin. There he is.
I think he just showed up.
We got him. Kevin, how you doing? This year's April Fool's Day joke was pretty lame. That was not as good as last year's. Last year's was annoying, but at least there was movement. This year's just wasn't good. Reddit as well. Reddit last year became Dig, and this year they just made everybody admin. I was kind of disappointed. But we're not here to talk about April Fool's Day just yet. We're here to talk about social media. And what is the biggest, most powerful website in the world right now? Aaron? What do you think it is?
Or Google, but I'm going to say Facebook.
Okay, it's either Google or Facebook. What about you, Victor? What do you think the most powerful website in the world is right now? Excellent. Urgo?
Is it Social Blade?
Social Blade is getting up there. We're currently number 8 on Alexa as the 8th most populated show in Uganda. Christina, if you were to pick out the top, the biggest website in the world right now, what would it be?
Mashable?
Nashville.
I'm thinking Facebook at this point. I'm not sure.
Well, the battle is on, I tell you, and the battle is currently being waged over social media. Facebook and Google are spending tons of money to take over what they want to be what is called your default social profile. Now, for those who don't know, there's Facebook Connect, there's Google Connect, there's Friend Connect or whatever it's called. Bottom line is they are sinking tons of money to make sure that wherever you go, you are recognized by either a big G, or I'm sorry, a little G, or a little F. It's awesome. Yeah, this is something from a social media perspective that we either love it or hate it because they're being completely intrusive and trying to get in everybody's business. But that's okay because they're doing it for our benefit. So we love them. I know I know I personally love Google. I know Jason loves Google. He does have Google plan to establish world domination by 2012, if we make it past 12. And Facebook, as everyone knows, I'm absolutely hugest fan in the world when it comes to Mark Zuckerberg. I think that he's very mature, and he believes in privacy, and he runs his company very, very well. So I'm going to end the sarcasm for this question of which one would you rather have to Aaron Ryan. Aaron, which would you rather have, Facebook Connect or Friend Connect or Buzz It or Google Buzz or whatever you want to call it, different variations of the connection war going on their end? Facebook or Google? Quick.
Facebook.
Victor, you got to make a choice. Which one do you want? You want to connect through Google?
In Google we trust.
In Google we trust. There we go. Christina?
Google.
You go Google. Urgo?
Just because I really hate how Google handles their accounts across different places, I almost would do Facebook in this one. But I'd prefer neither,
right,
quite honestly.
So we have a 2-2 tie, so I will be the tiebreaker, and my vote is going to MySpace.
MySpace.
Yeah, so that didn't go over very well.
Wow.
I would have
Went to my
agreed with
shop
you
after. Okay.
2 years ago, but not now.
You know, I went to MySpace once, and I caught a disease, so I left. But notice nobody said Twitter. I know I'm awful. Nobody said Twitter, and at least from what we can tell, Twitter is currently rolling out some new features. Victor, what kind of features we got going?
If you've been, keeping up on some social media / tech news via places like TechCrunch and Mashable, everyone's probably noticed most recently the new homepage. Now, the thing about the new homepage is if you're a Twitter user, you're not going to see it, which is kind of weird, considering this is like kind of a big deal for them. What the new homepage is designed in such a way that non-members who go to twitter.com will see a kind of centralized homepage that's organized, in a few different ways. One, it has sections for featured tweeters who aren't just featured via things like the suggested user list, but they're also figuring out a way to weigh tweets, mostly by well-known users and celebrities across the board, and featuring those in a easy to take in timeline format. And they've also been hooking up with brands. You can follow your favorite brands and see what they're up to on Twitter. The new homepage is actually really cool. I don't know if anyone else has had the chance to play with it. I'm guessing not, because most people here in our audience do have Twitter accounts. But for those curious, use Google or Firefox's incognito or porn modes, if you will, and you can check out the Twitter homepage for yourself. And it's really cool because one, it kind of gives you what's really buzzing on Twitter via its top tweets section, and two, it hooks you up with celebrities, brands, and all around just interesting people that you would most likely be wanting to follow if you're totally unknown to Twitter. If you're brand new and you're on the fence, go to twitter.com, check out what's going on, and that's exactly what this homepage is designed to do. And one of the other kind of major updates Twitter started rolling out is basically a contributors feature. Now, what this does is it allows enterprise level or multi-personnel driven Twitter accounts to engage in such a way that basically contributes certain tweets, not just to the company or group itself, but to specific people who are kind of working behind the scenes. Case in point, people or companies such as Salesforce, Starbucks, CoTweet are now using this feature to not just tweet, just blindly from the company umbrella, but contribute certain tweets to specific personnel, to specific people, to specific kind of characters behind the scenes who are actually powering these Twitter accounts, using different tools such as CoTweet, Hootsuite, among many others. And the significance of this is that this is kind of the first real look into one subset of the business tools that Twitter will be rolling out sometime soon here, which they're going to market towards large companies who have very large Twitter accounts with very large followings, that are constantly engaging, with their customers or fans on Twitter, via some kind of CRM scheme. So this is kind of a peek into that world that someday Twitter is going to have a whole host of methods and tools, that can be used by people who are running bigger brands on Twitter that require higher level and higher scale social media presences, which is all really interesting, if you really think about it.
I'd
So what do
never
you
heard.
think?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
You go ahead, JD. You hang
Well,
up.
see, now,
No, I was just.
no, I had is okay. No, I did that one on purpose. Go ahead, Aaron. For reals, I'm not going to interrupt you. Seriously.
I know you did. What do you think about the new feature of its homepage? What do you think are the purposes behind that, Victor?
I think for people who don't have Twitter accounts, it's kind of hard for them to really get kind of a daily scoop, a what's really going on Twitter. I mean, there's a whole host of tools and kind of tweet aggregators and link aggregators such as Topsy and TweetMeme that really kind of measure what's viral on Twitter. But that still doesn't really appeal to people who don't have Twitter accounts, because the only way you can really take part in what's going on and really get a sense of the action is to kind of already be a Twitter user. What the homepage does is it really bridges the gap, between people who don't have Twitter accounts, who may not have any sort of experience or previous engagement with Twitter whatsoever, and the kind of Twitter world that features celebrities, brands, and interesting folks that are really having an impact, on the sort of social media landscape there. So this is meant for people like, let's say, my mom, who doesn't have a Twitter account. She uses things like Facebook and stuff, but she doesn't have a Twitter account. But what she can do is she can go to twitter.com, check out the homepage, and be like, oh, look, there's that, cute guy Justin Bieber, like tweeting about his boss, and all these, she can get kind of a general idea as to what's really happening on Twitter at that point in time. And what they're hoping is that they're hoping to use this homepage as sort of a catch-all net to really draw some of the non-Twitter people to really, starting an account, following people who are interesting, following celebrities that are actually making the most of their Twitter presences, and kind of getting them going off on the right foot. And I believe that's what the homepage is set to do.
I was only going to ask what corn mode was, but I found out.
No, and in Chrome it's called incognito mode, and that's kind of the only way people who already have Twitter accounts can see it, because most of the time they're already logged in, so they're not going to see the homepage. But just launch twitter.com in incognito mode, and boom, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Why is it called corn mode?
Oh, you mean porn mode?
Oh, I thought you said corn mode.
It's because
Oh,
incognito mode
incognito.
doesn't take cookies, and it doesn't keep a history, and so it's great if you're wanting to surf a little prawn.
I just want to know what was up with all the corn.
I just can't believe that you're playing it off like you don't know what it is, JD. I mean, come on.
JD,
Come on,
yeah,
JD.
yeah.
Let's segue to the next story, please. No, that's really cool, and I do think it's kind of funny and ironic that they make a big and drastic and wonderful change to a page that none of the users are going to see. That's
It's
perfect.
interesting, yeah. It's a little interesting.
And even those who aren't logged in probably won't go to Twitter anyway, except for Aaron. They'll be using TweetDeck or something like that. Right?
That's true. That's true.
I personally like corn. Christina, I have a question.
Yes.
If you use Twitter, correct?
Yes. Quite often.
very-
Yes.
Oh yes, I've followed your stream. You are very good at Twitter. Just curious, do you go to twitter.com to tweet, or do you use a Twitter client of some sort?
Well, I do use a client, but that's really only when I'm away from home, and I rarely ever tweet when I'm away from home. So Twitter web for me all the way. I'm one of
Really?
the last
Wow.
survivors.
You're like one of the last of the Mohicans, it sounds
That's
in the Twitter world. I mean, wow, you're like I didn't even know people really use Twitter from the website still.
A lot of us do. A lot
Really?
of us still
Oh,
do.
wow.
Yeah.
A lot
but-
of us,
Well,
including Aaron.
in that case, Christina, I highly recommend Seismic Desktop. Check it out.
Or TweetDeck. More of a TweetDeck.
I like TweetDeck.
There
I
you
like
go.
TweetDeck and Tweety.
Tweety's great. No, in fact, if I had to choose one way to tweet for the rest of my life, it would be Tweety 2 via the iPhone. No questions. Totally.
Mhm. Well, if you ever have, it's funny that you guys are having this debate about various software, because if you ever have a similar debate about what kind of hardware to choose, you should go to hothardware.com. Hot Hardware is our sponsor, has been our sponsor for the Social Blade Show for a long time, and really, without them, we would not be here. They make us possible. They make us strong. Dave Altavilla over there, very active in social media. Keep in mind, this is not just hardware stuff. He is excellent at social media as well. So check out hothardware.com to find the latest and the greatest news and reviews. Also, check out to see if there's some interesting stuff to spread the word via social media. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Dig, we have Reddit, we have StumbleUpon, and we have hothardware.com. In the meantime, talk to me, Aaron, because I heard that there is approximately somewhere between 5 and 7 steps to protect your Facebook privacy.
There is, but first you need to know what's going on with your privacy. So as we've known and been made aware of through various articles about Facebook and their love for changing their privacy policies and not afraid of the risks. However, more importantly, unlike the government, Facebookers don't seem to say too much about it. The question is, do we just not care, or are we uninformed? How would you feel if you went to a third-party site that you had never been to before, and you saw your friends, your status updates, and your personal data posted? Most likely, you're going to first think that you've been hacked or possibly phished. You're not going to think Facebook, are you? With that said, this might change your mind. Ever since December of last year, Facebook implemented an everyone default setting. You know, the one that's located under your status updates on your profile and on your newsfeed? Most might think that everyone might have meant all of your friends, fans, or possibly all of Facebook. But would you have thought that the everyone setting was for the entire internet?
I did.
Well,
I
it
knew.
is. You did know that? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Well,
I'm just,
I didn't know that either, and I'm learning this out now too. So, very interesting how they did that, because they've actually doing this, GD, since June of 2009. Yet it was buried really deeply inside Facebook. But through questionings, like I said, articles and governments, the questioning of whether they're infringing on our human rights, Facebook instead, no pun intended here, but they put it right in front of our faces without really informing us, or rather asking for our consent. So to keep track, since June, they have been giving our information without publicizing it, and then publicly defaulting our settings to allow search engines and third-party sites privy to our privacy. Even if you feel you gave consent, I mean, do we really feel like we were informed? Most might say no. With that negativity said, you still have the ability to go and change those settings by clicking the drop down and choosing the setting you'd prefer. But with the new API graph, which we actually reported on a few weeks ago, and just to kind of bring you up to date, if you weren't here, it's similar to Facebook Connect, but will allow you to connect with websites that will direct their information to your newsfeed, which is kind of cool. But this new feature will allow third-party sites to have your information as soon as you visit them, whether you decide to opt in or not. Facebook will share your general information, such as photos, gender, social graph, and possibly more. Even if you change your everyone settings now, all the information prior to your new change will still allow other sites that are not Facebook to have that access. This could be an opportunity to get even more social, or it could be a Facebook fail. Either way, they are running the risk, again, of bad press and backlash. The important thing here is your privacy important to you? Now, I'm going to list you the 6 that JD had previously stated. The 6 steps. They're really quick, they're easy, and pretty simple, and most of you might be aware of them already. However, I'm going to list them. I'm going to state I don't necessarily agree with all of them, but I'm going to tell you what you can do to protect yourself if you feel as though you have been misled in what Facebook has shared or not shared with you in regard to your privacy. So, number 1, Change your password to a more difficult one. Mix it up with numbers and letters. Remove your middle name or your maiden name if you added it in when you registered to Facebook. Number 2, check to see if you are still a part of a network. Now, although Facebook did get rid of it as a requirement, that doesn't mean it would necessarily went away. So if you aren't aware of what network you did register as, or if you'd like to know which one you might want to be added to, or just get rid of it altogether, just go up to your settings and change it, or you can keep it the same. Just make sure you're happy with it. You might also want to really get private and unlink your Facebook to Twitter, MySpace, and even your blog. Number 3, check your privacy settings under your account. Make sure that you are comfortable with how it is set up. Number 4, if you have your mobile device connected, be aware that this could open you up to spam, texting, and others having access to your number. Number 5, be sure not to add friends you don't know, since hackers can use this to their benefit. If you have been doing this and want to undo it, go to accounts and edit friends list. And finally, number 6, be wary of Facebook applications and quizzes, for the innocent information and access that you think you are providing could have a hacker figure you out quickly. This includes even when you comment on a friend's post of a quiz they took. Okay, so all this talk about privacy. It can't help but lead us to wonder, are we going to fear the internet forever or embrace the opportunity to get social? Isn't that the point? We're supposed to get a smaller world here and communicate more with ease. And really, it's truly the beauty of social media. Or has a line been crossed? The real question is, JD, can we ever truly be private when we're online?
Aaron, can I hop in here real quick?
Yes,
Aaron?
I'm asking you.
Yeah, I'd like to hop in here. Can you guys see this guy right here? Here, move in. Move to the camera. I want you to tell them what happened today. What do you mean what happened? Text message.
Yeah, I got a text message.
Huh?
He needs to get closer to the mic, JD. We can't hear him.
Yes. Speak into the mic. Tell them what happened.
I got a text message from somebody I didn't know, and it told me to check out their Facebook account or something.
And it wasn't until I'm listening to this now that I realized, my gosh, my son has it. Because, I mean, she said she called him by his last name, sends him a text message, and which email address to find her.
Sorry.
So you have your cell phone number attached to your Facebook, I assume. When did you make a Facebook page? We're going to talk about this later, young man. Take this beautiful downstairs. You just got busted. You just got busted. I'm in the middle of the show. Go. Take him.
We'll discipline the Facebook user later.
That is a live representation of what can happen when you don't take privacy. I'm trying to figure out how in the world did this girl get my son's cell phone number and text him Facebook information, right? This is it. You know what? I am so done with it's MySpace all day. I'm going back to MySpace. Give me the link.
I mean,
first, I'm gonna go take a picture right now of myself.
You know, JD, you make an interesting point, and actually, this problem actually exists with a few other networks, especially Foursquare and Google Voice. Like, even if you don't technically share or give someone your phone number, if you like friend them, they can access your number if you haven't already taken the option to hide your number. So this happens among some other networks as well.
Sorry for bringing my children to the show.
No, but I mean, that's a good point. Children, they have cell phones, and they're not going to be like, oh, scary people of the world. They're, especially at the teenage years, it's all about them. So they're going to be putting in this information, and just like your son, they're going to receive information from strangers who are going to act as though they know them because they've got their information off of Facebook. So, I mean, that was a really good point that you brought up there in regards to your son, JD.
Well, I didn't. You brought it up. I had to mute. You know, when I heard you say that, it's like kind of two and two came together. I had to mute my my audio for a second and say, "Get your butt up here! What are you doing? Looking at corn? Stop looking at that corn page."
Just say no to cornfields. But JD, my question to you is, can you ever truly be private on the internet? I mean, a lot of people are fearing what's going on with the locations that are happening with Gowalla and the various other sites. So what do you think?
It's possible. I mean, the way I figure it, most people are using social networks to expand out, but there are some people who actually want to be more like real. Like they want social networks that are basically geared towards just them and their real life friends. They don't want the entire world to know everything that's going on or where they're meeting. They want to just talk to their own peeps, and that's where a company called Rally Up stepped in. Whoosh! I heard that. I heard that. Whoosh! Rally Up is it's an iPhone.
We're losing you, JD.
I said, I think there's steam in the background. Are you making a latte, Urgo?
No, it wasn't me.
You made a frappaloca chino, didn't you?
No, okay, you're back.
No, Rally Up. Yes, Rally Up it's an iPhone location-based social network thingy that basically at the end of the day it is for real people that you really know. This is the whole goal here is to be able to still be social without letting, everybody around the world know what you're doing. At the end of the day, and I've already used that term twice, so I feel bad, but at the end of the day, third time, at the beginning of the night, okay, you want to be able to tell people what you're doing, where you are, and that's where these services like Foursquare and Gowalla and Looped and everything come into play. But some people are actually out there, and they just want the 8, 10, 12 people that they really know to know where they're going, rather than the stalker people or those that are looking to become stalker people or those who are stalking my 15-year-old son. And if I ever get a hold of you, lady, or whatever you are, I'm going to – but anyway, yeah, no, they just want to let their people do it, and that's what Rally Up does. It allows you to be social and to basically talk to people and work with people. But guess what? Chances are you probably really do know these people because it's all private. Everything is private on Rally Up. So I'm sure we'll put the link afterwards about this particular thing, Rally Up. But in the meantime, Rally Up.
Yeah, Christina, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
I'm a fan of Rally Up.
No.
Explain. Rally Up. So I was checking Rally Up out today, and for one, like you just said, your 10 or 12 friends who you really, really know. I mean, what about the phone? What about getting together for coffee? I mean, 10 or 12 people, or even 20, but most people don't have 20 close friends. So Rally Up, I was looking at it, and the thing that pissed me off the most was how antisocial it is by allowing you to add friends and then completely ignore them, but those friends don't know you're doing it, and you don't know who's ignoring you. I mean, that's just tacky, and that is not social at all. So I don't like it.
I ignore everybody, and I keep it universal. Nobody gets preferential treatment. Everybody gets ignored. That's how I roll. So, but no.
But I mean, in regards.
Oh, go ahead, Aaron. We're really on target to you and I, girl.
Yeah, we're in sync tonight, JD. I'm telling you. Now, it's just that with Rally Up, I mean, if you're just having your friends on the internet with you that are your real friends, supposedly, then why wouldn't you just go have coffee with them? Why would you go on the internet with them? Right?
Yeah, Aaron.
Right
high five. Virtual high five. Yeah, because I mean, oh no. Okay, so but the thing is that like, I mean, I understand it's a great app for the iPhone, but Rally App is not really going to be a social network. It's going to be a place where you can just talk to your friends when you're actually on the real social networks talking to your so-called non-real friend.
It should be called a network since it's just me. Don't you think?
Exactly.
A social network. No, anti-social network.
Basically, guys, at the end of the day, in this day and age, no one can really be fully private. There's only but there's things that you can do really that just help to make it harder for people to find you. But if someone really wants to find you, they can. But I mean, if you follow just some of these little safety tips, I mean, with not publishing certain information and controlling the settings on your Facebook to who can see what, it just helps. I mean, yeah. And if we're talking about location-based networks, don't check into your home with Foursquare, for example, things like that.
Yeah, that would be.
There we go, Jason Urgo. Jason Urgo, give me a hand. Shocking.
Oh no. Well, speaking of finding people, we're really happy to have found who you see sitting here and talking with us, Christina Kingston. She is a writer of fiction and nonfiction. She has been involved with TV and film. Some of you may recognize her since she has been in front of the camera, as well as she has been a social media strategist for 10 years. Thank you, Christina, so much for joining us tonight.
Not 10 years, actually, for a couple years.
Couple years? Okay.
Started doing that around, like early 2007.
Oh, okay, because I thought I read that it was 2000 until now. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
No worries.
10
years.
We're going to go with 10 years. That sounds pretty.
Okay, 10 years is great. I've been in social media, but I haven't been a social media strategist for 10 years. But fantastic. It's a lovely thing. It's better than being a waitress. I did that before.
That's true.
Actually, that was pretty
I've
cool.
done it too.
I liked it. That was social.
It was social. Yeah, anything social in a job position is a lot of fun. So, okay, well then what led you down the path to using social media then?
Well, it was because I was using social networking sites and really liked them and got deeply into community and engagement, and people noticed that and started asking me to build pages for them. So that's kind of how I got into it. Just fell right into it that way, just by being on social networking sites.
Okay, now I'm going to reference the article that you've written, which really brought you to my attention. Have social media and social networking broken up? Could you explain what caused you to think of this to begin with? Because I thought it was really interesting.
Well, what brought me to think of it from the beginning was that I'm seeing a lot of regurgitated stuff in my feed on Twitter, the same old blog over and over and over and over again, and they're not engaging with anyone. They're just pumping this boring information into our faces, and it just sort of it made me realize that this huge disconnect has happened. At least I feel it has.
Okay, so how can social media and social networks have this be two separate entities? Doesn't one need one to have the other? Doesn't social media need the social networking platforms to be able to utilize it in communicating any type of output?
Well, yeah, it does, but that doesn't mean it's a love-love relationship anymore. I mean, they've just kind of they have a separation still. I mean, obviously, you can't have social media without social networks. No, but just the way it used to be just a few years back, it was more social, and I just feel like the social's been taken out of it, and all it is people preaching about their products, preaching about their blogs on how to help us write more blogs or how to help us be better at social media. I mean, it's just, it's gotten out of control. I mean, there's no engagement anymore, really. It's just pumping out boringness.
So it's just constantly, you just feel as though it's constantly about pushing yourself instead of actually reaching out to maybe talk to another person. It's more so just pushing your links out, pushing your own content out. It's not anymore. So it went from, basically you're talking about and this is in relation to an article that we had reported on last week, RIP Social Media, where they talked about how it used to be about the social good. Now I know that that's not what you're saying here, but at the same time, you're saying that, a few years ago, like they did, that it was more about the social good, and in your case, it was more social just in general. Now you feel like it's more of a media platform?
Yes.
So it's
I don't know, this social good thing. I mean, I'm not all that familiar with that, except really from Twitter. I mean, on the other social networking sites, I don't even, Facebook, MySpace, I don't remember that being the social good. I mean, that's a huge Twitter thing, and it's great on Twitter. But
Yes.
I don't recall this being a big deal a few years ago.
So where do you think it's lacking? Like, what do you think happened that caused people to be less social and more media oriented?
There are there's too many social media strategists. I think that's what happened. The market is clogged. I think people are now just looking at the dollar and not realizing where that dollar comes from. It comes from human beings, and you need to connect with them. I mean, they're human beings before they become customers. So I think that's forgotten.
There was actually something
There
was actually something that was just said in the room. Andy, Mr. Babyman, brought up that if you're seeing all of this useless information, he's suggesting that you might be just following the wrong people. I mean, yeah, you'll find people that are just talking and trying to push their own things. But if you follow only people that are really just trying to be social there, I mean, that's the beauty of things like Twitter. You get to control your own adventure, if you will.
That's a beautiful thing about Twitter. Yeah, you have the unfollow button. But as far as my account goes, I want a diverse group of people, and I do have that. But still, there are a lot of people who they've forgotten how to connect, and I don't just want to hit the block button on them. I just would like. Well, I don't know what I can do about it. I don't know how to bring the two together, except in my own way, me doing it. But as far as other people go, I think it has to be, people have to realize that they have lost the personal touch.
Well, that could be partly because businesses are getting involved more and more every day with social media. And I know, like you said, maybe there's too many social media strategists. I think there's too many social media gurus that like to call themselves experts. And there is no such thing, in my opinion, as an expert in social media because it's constantly changing. But there are people that are more in tuned and keep, filling their knowledge with the constant change and staying connected with the various social networking sites. However, as businesses do integrate their company into Twitter or Facebook or MySpace, YouTube, any of those various social networking sites, or any others that I haven't mentioned, they do need guidance, don't you think? They need the guidance to show how to because there is a wrong way and a right way of utilizing social media for business or even personal use, correct?
I'm not sure about personal use, but yeah, definitely for business use. I guess it depends on the company. Yeah, right way, wrong way. But if you are disconnected from the people, you have to try something else. And I don't think that they're trying anything else. I don't know. I mean, it's not working. Everybody's getting bored, glazing over. Hello?
Yeah.
What would you suggest then?
Well, no. Here's what I think. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Christina, and to be honest, I think that part of the issue is, there's almost too much filtering that one has to really do to get the most kind of profound, substantial experience from a place like Twitter. That if you're, following the same people and you're just kind of staying static, and you notice that everyone's just kind of regurgitating each other and whatever media they're trying to push, or whatever websites, payola advertisements, what have you, that it's going to get stale really quick. That it almost seems like more than half of the effort of using Twitter is just managing things like, who you're following on, and managing people that you're actually engaging with, people that you're responding to, people that you're creating real relationships with. And I think in part, one of the reasons there's this kind of cyclical regurgitation of kind of meaningless info, at least personally meaningless in the sense of it doesn't really offer you any value, that it's all of them casting nets to try to attract people to get to visit their sites, or to get to visit their their social media firms, or their guru blogs. That social media has fundamentally become kind of two cults of personality-ish, that the hubbub and the real buzz is really only relevant to kind of the folks that are kind of on the cusp and leading edge of, like, social media theory and best practice and how to use it. And I say buck that everyone's in control of their own destiny. You can follow celebrities, you can follow brands, you can follow people who are spamming you, but ultimately it's up to the user to determine how they're going to follow people, who they're going to follow, and how they're going to manage their presences. And I think there are some tools out there that at least I've used, and I know a lot of other people have used, to manage these things. Friend or follow, unfollowing people who just aren't active enough, unfollowing people who just have an insane signal to noise ratio that doesn't really present anything useful to you. There's the people who tweet content, the people who tweet personal updates, the people who tweet relevant advice that maybe is useful to you. I just think that because of the large scale nature of people trying to push stuff, makes it that much harder for us to weed out what's not relevant to us, what's not important to us, and how we can actually enrich our social media experiences. That it's just become too much of a chore to manage these things, and I think ultimately that's kind of what is one of the issues here. And I think that's why things like Twitter tools, things like external third-party tools that can actually help us and simplify the process of enriching our experience that we ultimately receive on our end of our Twitter experience.
Yeah, do you feel that way, Christina? Do you think it's enriched us, or do you feel like you're taking a negative turn on what you might be capitalizing here when you're talking in regards to social media and social networking?
Well, if we're talking
or do you
about
think it's just
Twitter,
evolved?
If we're talking about Twitter, it's a great experience if you make it a great experience, sure. And I have a great experience on Twitter as far as the people I follow. I mean, they're very diverse and offer a lot. So, and everybody who goes to Twitter has that option. And what's the question?
Well, my question is do you think that maybe what you're seeing it as is negative, but really it's just the evolution of social media?
Well, that very well could be, yeah, the evolution. It's devolved. Sure. I do see it as negative right now. I think it could change. I think it could get back to being more engaging instead of pushing nonstop information in our face. Mostly what bothers me is that the information is not new. We need some new stuff. As far as the gurus go, I never really paid attention to the gurus in the first place. So not too familiar with what they're doing, and I imagine that a lot of people don't really care what they're doing anymore. They've heard it all already. They've already got the ebook. They copied it, gave it to all their buddies. So,
well, what social network do you think could have been something but has lost its way?
Well, I do think that would be MySpace. It's no longer useful for me, but a while back it was a great site, and a lot of people don't think it was. But for me, it was a great site professionally and personally. And as far as social networking sites go, I really think, hands down, it was one of the best of all time. I wish it was still like that. It's not anymore, but I loved it, and I used the hell out of it. And a lot of people didn't really try. They just thought that there was too many goofy people on there, et cetera, and that was not the case. It was a great site for personal and professional use.
Okay, so back in the day, in regards to MySpace, what do you think happened? Do you think it had to do with it being able to bling out your site? I know for me,
that where I lost it on Facebook was everyone blinged out their site. They had music or video that automatically played, and it took forever to load the page, which stopped my social connection.
Backgrounds
So I
also.
moved on.
Hate the backgrounds.
Yeah, backgrounds, exactly. So is that where you think they went wrong, or what do you think happened to MySpace?
Well, I don't think they went wrong with that. I think it's fantastic when a site gives the individual a lot of freedom to express themselves. So I don't think they went wrong. I think if you have a friend who has all of that and you don't like it, then don't visit their page. So I see no problem with that. Maybe MySpace could have prevented certain kind of coding. They could have stopped the YouTube videos. They could have stopped the music players. But MySpace pretty much started as being a hub for bands in the first place, and it was fantastic for that. But gosh, you know, if you don't like it, yeah, then either I don't know, delete the friend or never visit their page again. That's recently they created a way, kind of like Facebook, where you don't have to visit a person's page. You can completely ignore anything they're all about and just click a button and leave a comment on their page, even though you never went to their page. I mean, I'm completely against things like that.
Right.
I don't know if we're still on the same subject.
No, we still are. But the thing is that with MySpace, like when it first started with the blinging of the pages and the music, I understand your point of the freedom of allowing its users. But that's what I'm saying is that the social disconnect began because it wasn't just one or two of your friends that if you didn't want to visit their page, you just didn't, or you unfriended them. It then happened that everybody's page was like that. So that's why things moved on. And I think that's why Facebook is so popular, because of its simplicity in just keeping it simple, and you don't have that much freedom to just do whatever you want with your page. Although it's frustrating for users, I do agree. But at the same time, it keeps it simple, and so more people are on it.
I know. I use MySpace as an example of a company that had everything. They were on top of the world. They were getting publicity. They, in essence, launched the modern era of social networking, in my opinion, and they went astray. I wrote about this. I think it was about, actually might have even been 2007. I said that MySpace is, if they don't make a change soon, you know, and basically take control of what they're doing, they're going to lose. And so we're gonna have a poll. Urgo's put a poll up, and let's poll it out. See what people think. How's that?
Yeah. Urgo put up a poll with do you think social media and social networking has broken up?
So I forgot to write the broken up. Hold on a second.
Yes, no.
Let me
or
put that
it doesn't
right
matter.
back.
What did you say?
It'll be there in just 1 second.
There is no poll.
I forgot to write the second part of your question there.
Okay. So, Christina, what are you using now? What do you use now? And you don't use MySpace. You're not on there anymore. You've left it. But what is your favorite social networking site now?
Well, I'm using Twitter the most right now.
Why do you prefer that over any other social network?
Because it's fast and easy. You only get 140 characters, so you're in and then you're out. And the group I've gathered, I really like them. They have a lot to offer. So it's a nice place to be. I mean, it's informative and colorful, and I get a lot of laughs there. I love the daily jokes from my buddies. So as far as professionally, though, a while back I set up pages for people, and that was all well and good, but I'm not doing a lot of that anymore. And mostly I'm using it personally, and it's fine. It's great. I love it. I think all of us love it, right?
Well, you are. We had 4 shows ago. We had a debate over which was better, Twitter or Facebook, and In a very close 3-2 vote, it was deemed that Twitter is the superior social network to Facebook. So you're definitely welcome to come back to the show anytime after this. This is you are on our side. You're on the good side, fighting the good fight, and all that good stuff. So I already like you a lot.
Thank you.
I got a question, Christina. Given, kind of, you've obviously been noticing a lot about social networking, social media, and kind of the divisions that are inherent in these infrastructures. As a consultant, I mean, how would you consult me on, let's say I wanted to launch a website, and this was going to be like a middle of the road, broad-based, wide web audience appealing, content-based website. How would you direct me in terms of establishing a sound social media / social networking presence?
On what site? You mean Twitter?
Well, no, just not just Twitter, but in general. Like, how would, let's say I'm totally unknown to the world of social media or social networking. I don't use MySpace. I don't have a Facebook. I don't have a Twitter. How would you, like, what would you say would be kind of the first initial key steps for like laying the groundwork, in terms of going in those directions?
Well, I would say set up the pages, and then you have to target your audience, and then you have to go and get them as friends. Instead of just shooting in the dark like a lot of people do, they just send out a million friend requests, and they have no idea who they've friended. But, yeah, it would take some time to target who you want, who you think your audience is, and then you'd spend that time gathering them. After that, before that, you're already building up your web presence. Just getting that together so you have something to present.
Cool. And so let's talk Twitter specifically. Like what kind of frequency, like, how should, I think, brands or people operate on Twitter? Like, in a perfect world, how should people use Twitter? Just, because I know that people use it in a multitude of ways. But how do you think people should use it to make it better?
I don't know. You're talking about how should businesses use it,
Not just
or
businesses,
regular
anyone.
people?
Like, because a lot of what you're saying about how kind of social media's evolved, and it's becoming this feed factory of regurgitated marketing concepts and buzz terms. If you could govern the Twitter universe, how would you make people do it? Like, how would you make people use Twitter to just create a better social networking environment?
I would suggest that they engage with the people that they're following. And by engaging, obviously, connecting somehow. If they send out a tweet and it amuses you or it teaches you something, we'll let them know. And that's pretty much how the ball starts rolling. So, yeah. Can you hear me?
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that you do have to engage, although I think that word is kind of overused a little bit. But definitely interact and go where the people are. That is Facebook, that is Twitter, YouTube. And, not just blast your links out there, find a way to connect by asking open-ended questions, such as, who are the people that influenced you in social media, Christina?
Just the regular people. Just the regular Joes and Sues. Seriously.
So you didn't have
too.
No, that's a good answer, because I'm waiting for this big name dropper, and you're saying it's just the people that you take the time to interact with.
Yeah, A+. Ashton Kutcher. I see someone wrote that.
Funny.
No, there's not really a guru for me. On Twitter, there's some people who I used to be impressed by. I liked the way they were using Twitter. They put out polls, and they always had interesting questions to get people to interact, and then from that interaction, a lot of new people met each other, and that, you know, that's a cool thing, the connecting thing. But yeah, I don't have a guru. Do you?
I have people that that have influenced me in a positive way, and some of them are in big ways, and some of them are in small ways. Sure, I don't think that you can use a social network without having an impact on someone or them having an impact on you. If so, I don't think you're using it right. But yeah, it's great to know that you have found that through the people that you interact with and choose to friend, follow, or fan. So
They inspire
I don't,
me. They all inspire me.
which is great, you know, and that's the real point of social media, and I'm hoping that message will get across to some people who might be new to social media or social networking, and looking to incorporate even their business. So it is about the people, and let them inspire you instead of you telling them what they should be inspired by. So where can we find you online? So you're on Twitter with CTK1, correct?
Yes, on Twitter, and my website is www.ctkingston.com, and my Facebook. Well, let's skip the Facebook.
Let's skip the Facebook. Yeah, because you will friend the people on Twitter, right? You find people on, and we were talking about that a bit yesterday in regards to people on Twitter are more open to being friends with you, but Facebook people will kind of close you off and ask, like, why are you asking me to be your friend?
Yes, that's true. That is what, if you didn't go to school with them, or, well, now I mean that mutual thing. If there's like 5 or 6 people that you have as mutual friends, I think people might add you at this point. But I do find Facebook to be not as friendly.
Yeah, it's a little bit,
especially
and
not
you know,
as friendly as MySpace. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Facebook person, and I will agree with you that it is a little bit snobbier than Twitter or even MySpace. But yeah, you know, to me, I'm a Facebooker. I love Twitter too, and I don't think that I could go without either one if I had to choose. But we did have that question again, like JD brought up a few weeks ago. If you had to, you know, I would choose Facebook. But that doesn't mean that I, you know, won't friend people I don't know. But I get what you're saying. That used to be me back when I first started with Facebook. So again, thank you for your time today, Christina. We've truly had a pleasure speaking with you. We look forward to continuing a social connection with you online.
I think that's a great idea. And how about we engage? I know you're tired of that word, but that's what we'll do. We'll make plans to engage.
We will engage together. We will make a day that we'll call it the Engage Day, and
right on.
And we'll engage with everyone. Okay, so as you know, it's April Fool's Day, and I hope it was good to you, Christina, and for everyone else in the audience. Speaking of April Fools, Jason, you have some information to report about April Fools?
Yeah. Well, for anyone that knows me, I run actually probably the most complete list of April Fool's jokes on the web, aprilfoolsdayontheweb.com. It's sort of my holiday, my favorite holiday of the year. And from in previous shows here, Pat, a couple shows ago, played an April Fool's Day joke on me, for example. But this year, Social Blade, if you watched it at all, and we have it playing in the bottom corner over here at the moment, we did an April Fool's joke as well. So if you haven't checked it out, you got to go to just check out youtube.com/socialblade or go to our website and you can see the full video. But basically, we came up with a product called Google Verticals, which was a new way that used birds and sort of took real-time photos of people when they use social networks like Buzz, at least initially, and then soon for Twitter and Facebook as well. So that was our joke, and it was just a great day for me. I've had about a total of 2 hours of sleep in the past 48 hours, so I'm pretty tired right now, or overtired even. But I had a great time.
I mean, it was even fun. You came up with this concept, JD came up with the verticals part of it, and then he came up with it being an acronym, and then we came up with the VOOJ, which VOOJ is actually our first initials. So Victor, Urgo, JD, Aaron. And the other part, we added Google and China in there. So those are the things that we added in there just to kind of get to the point for those that might not have gotten it, which is pretty obvious that they should have. But Urgo, you had fun doing it, and it was great that your friends came by and played our Google chief engineers in North Carolina.
Yeah, which also, I mean, it obviously was a joke, at least at this time, but this really is something that could be coming in the not too distant future also. You know, we're doing all this location-based things with tweeting with our geolocations, tagged to it. What's to say that when technology, maybe not birds, but even like satellite technology, the government we know already has things like this. And usually the public sector lies about like 20 years or so behind. This could be coming in the future. Who knows?
Well, no, I mean, I did see a story today about the birds and the geolocation. They have like these cell phone things, so it's here. It's here already. I saw a video.
Jason, what about the poll? Let us know about the poll before JD takes us
out. Poll results?
Tell us about.
Yeah, have social media and social networking broken up. Our results were very close here. We had just barely more no's than yeses. 40% no. 40% yes, and 60% no.
40% of the people 40% are very smart.
And then 60% said no, and then some. How much was it for? It doesn't matter.
No one said it doesn't matter.
Oh, good. All of you are smart then.
Wait, how many said it didn't matter?
Zero.
Nobody.
40% yes, 60% no, 0% doesn't matter.
Oh, 0% doesn't matter.
Yes, which is good because, you know, we're all taking part in social media, and it would suck if we all thought that if it wasn't zero, if we all thought it didn't matter. So you're all smart in my books.
We all matter. We all play a role, have a part, all that good stuff. So yeah, and I just saw somebody went in there and voted doesn't matter just because we said something. Thank everybody for joining us this week on the Social Blade Show. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We are under the moniker Social Blade. Go figure. Thank you, Christina. Please, everybody, check out Christina's site, ctkingston.com. And she has some amazing insights into social media and life in general. So check her out and follow her tweets because I started, and they're really fun. I have to admit. She falls into the I'm a real Twitter user category, which it seems, as she said earlier, there seems to be fewer and fewer people doing that. Thank you, audience. Thank you, wonderful people, for joining us Thursday. Make sure that you join us every Thursday going forward, because from here it's just going to get it even better. Thanks, Dave. Hot Hardware. Yeah, you rock. You are the wind beneath our wings and all that good stuff. Make sure. Jason's going to post a link. I want you guys to do this. Jason's going to post a link on the show notes and possibly even now to where you can sign up for SMS.
Just go to j.mp/subus SUBUS.
Got it. j.mp.subus, and you can sign up for SMS alerts that will let you know every time the three wonderful people and I will be on the show plus a guest. It's every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 in Newfoundland. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Just remember that back in 1934, we did have plans to potentially invade Canada. And remember that we are Social Blade.
Yay! Thank you all.